And good morning. This is another edition of An Eternity of Basketball, and we will begin in just a few moments. But first, let's get some of the advertisements that we have out of the way. Of course, An Eternity of Basketball is now, of course, on Instagram. The problem is we have more followers on Facebook than on Instagram. That's got to change, guys. So follow us on Instagram as well to get the latest on An Eternity of Basketball. Of course, we're also part of the Globally Ballin Network. You can log on to www.globallyballin.com for all the latest on the multitudes of shows that the Globally Ballin Network has to offer. And also, the Eternity of Basketball, An Eternity of Basketball is also on the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Actually, starting tomorrow, episode 1 to 20 will only be on the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. And if you don't want to watch us, you can also listen to us. I heard something there. You can also listen to us, take us on the go on Spotify anytime you want to listen to us. And even if you don't want to listen to us, just listen to us on Spotify. And the last but not least, of course, Linktree/Globally Ballin. That's where all of the links, you can catch all of the links to just lead you to where you need to be. This is An Eternity of Basketball, if I'm not mistaken. This is episode 70 of An Eternity of Basketball. We have made it to the big 7-0, and we have our special guest we will introduce in just a bit. My name is Noel with Sid Ventura and Charlie Cuna. At ito pong ating special guest para sa araw na ito ay marami nang napagdaanan, makulay ang kanyang career. And he did not actually play basketball professionally but was very visible in the basketball scene as, of course, the team manager of Formula Shell sa PBA. That's going to be a very long story about that. So, shortly after that, he became the commissioner of the Philippine Basketball League. And there was also a time when the PBL actually tried to compete with the PBA. We're going to get into that. And then later on, founded, of course, the famous Hoop School and has become a basketball author. Makulay na makulay po ang buhay at career ng ating special guest sa araw na ito. Please welcome Coach Charlie Favis to An Eternity of Basketball. Thank you, Coach, for joining us.
Good morning, guys.
Oh.
Good morning,
Coach.
Ano pa rin, guys? Ano si Coach Charlie? Ano pa rin? It's the same Coach Charlie that you remember from years back. Ano, hindi na nagbago. So, yeah, we're gonna get the ball rolling dito, Coach Charlie Favis, right now. Marami nagtatanong kasi kung paano yung nagsimula ang love affair mo with basketball. Were you a player? Because you're about 6 feet tall. Were you a player when you began and then nag-gravitate na lang to corporate? So how did it start for you?
No, actually, in school, I was a runner. I was a hurdler, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I was the 400-meter hurdle champion at the time for running for LaSalle. But I was not really interested in basketball. So when I joined the corporate world, we had intramurals and things like that, mga interdepartment basketball. And I found out that I could actually play the basketball.
Oh.
And even in the Shell tournament, my name came up number 1 as the top scorer. So I guess if I had started earlier, maybe I could have played in the PBA too.
Oh.
But, and then we joined the SUP tournament with Meralco, PLDT, PAL, Philippine Airlines. I guess I also came up number 1 in points production, 31 points per game, and the next guy was 17 points from Amon Trading. I even remember his name, Bergen Holt. He was 17 points. I was 31 points per game. So sabi ko, I don't know. I just fell in love with it after that. And then
nung college talaga wala, running lang talaga ginawa nyo. Oh,
I was running around the quadrangle every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. Running. Yeah, and then because I wanted to really excel in, I was in last place actually. I told myself and run every day. So, fortunately, I won the next year. So
talagang track and field,
track and field ako. And then when I had a compare who passed away, he owned Safeguard Security. He used to pass by for me every Sunday, play basketball, and that's how I got to love the game. And then when I was in Shell in 1985, I the boss called me and told me that they decided to franchise of Crispa and told me, yeah, you'll be the head of the PBA task force, he told me. So apart from my job in Shell, he gave me another. It was really forming the team. He told me, form the team in 30 days. We're joining. That's what he told me. We're joining the first conference. So I
30
had
days.
30 days. Grabe. And I had to go to Masagana 99, talk to Leo Austria and all of these guys, Kabatu, and I formed the team. Luckily, it was a pretty good team. We got runner-up in the second conference naman.
Pero
Charlie,
coach,
go
That's how I
before that,
started with basketball.
pero coach, before that, when you were saying, so track and field ka nga, hindi ka naglalaro ng basketball, but were you already a fan? Would you watch PBA,
Yes.
Bika, on TV? Sino yung mga gusto mong
Definitely.
play? Kanina ka naaliw. Sino yung mga parang hinahangaan mo na mga
Yeah,
superstar?
hinahangaan ko noon sila Kwan. Syempre sila Freddy Hubalde, sila Atoy ko, all of these guys. Bog Salernado. I was going to the Araneta Coliseum to watch them play at that time. Yeah.
So
And
fan
then
ka
in
rin
Toyota,
pala talaga.
fan na talaga ako. Yeah.
Okay.
Ba't di nyo kaya naisipan mag-basketball early? I mean, ano height nyo, coach? You're 6 feet tall, di ba?
No, about 5'11 lang ako. Yeah.
Yun ang sinasabi na lahat na 6-footer, 5'11 lang sila. Pero
Para ako.
Charlie, 5'11 din daw. Hindi ako naniniwala.
Then I gradually improved on my shooting, especially when I started teaching basketball in 2002. I would go to the United States and watch basketball camps, how they do it, how they shoot. I even bought the NOAA system, which is a very expensive system to teach you how to shoot basketball. So, nag-improve naman yung basketball ko after that.
Pero coach, kahit na college, high school, kahit pick-up games, you didn't play basketball?
No, meron kami intramurals sa school.
Okay.
Yeah. I joined. But sabi ng mga teammates ko, wala daw akong break. Puro takbo lang daw ako. Hindi daw ako nagbe-break.
Sino mga players ng Lasal nung panahon nyo? Sino mga players ng Lasal nun sa basketball?
Marami na. Sila Lim Embeng. Sila, marami na rin.
Not far back talaga.
Far back talaga.
Kenneth Young, yung mga ganon, ano?
Yeah, oo. Sila. Oo.
Mike Bilbao.
Wow.
Mike Bilbao, yeah.
Si Waki, di ba?
Waki.
Yeah.
Sipin nyo, nasa isang mundo rin kayo eventually, ano? So talagang corporate, you had no inkling of getting into the basketball world, talaga corporate lang talaga. Was Shell your first company na pinasukan?
Which one?
Was Shell the first company that you entered?
No, I was with Procter and Gamble before that. Yeah.
Okay.
We also had inter-department there, so yeah.
Sa basketball sumikat, no?
Coach, ano yung responsibilities mo in Shell? What were you employed for?
Before the team.
Before, I was in marketing talaga. I was at that time I was with advertising, in Weathercoat, in a lot. And then I was hired for Shell Chemicals. I started the products like a Shell Guard, things like this, Shell Talks, all of those products. I was hired for that. And even Procter & Gamble recommended me to Shell to handle those products at the time. And then after that, when I was taken into basketball, I was with marketing, advertising, things like that. And then, so that's why I had a double job, but only one salary.
How did the decision to join the PBA, to buy the Crispa franchise come about?
Actually, the story is kind of interesting because, Fritz Gaston, one of the players of before, was very close to Bob Tyson, a marketing guy at Shell. He's a Dutch guy working at Shell. I guess he was going around with the daughters of Bob Tyson. And he mentioned this to Bob. Bob mentioned this to Ray Marquez. Ray Marquez mentioned this to Cesar Benaventura, our president then, and country chairman. And then that's it. Immediately after that conversation with Fritz and Bob, they called up Tommy Manotok. And Tommy Manotok did all the legwork for Shell to acquire the Crispa franchise.
Were
And
there
then-
other companies?
Bakit nila
Or-
naisipang sumali sa PBA,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
coach, yung time na yun?
Actually,
At that time,
Out of the-
we have our uniform kasi in the office. It has a Shell logo here, no? A Shell logo. And then when we go out to the field, when people see that logo, they tell us, "Are you working for Caltex?" Ganun na eh. Nobody really knew about, well,
Wow.
very little about Shell at that time.
Okay.
And then when we joined PBA, it completely reversed. We had a study done by Unisearch at the time, I remember. Unisearch with Unilever, no? The group. And they said that, we have overtaken Caltex in terms of, awareness and things like that. It has completely reversed it at that time. I remember that very clearly. The first study was everybody was just Caltex was the main oil company at that time in terms of yung mga Caltex, Caltex, kung ano mga dati, di ba? So, ayun. Shell was very glad to be able to join. And yeah, they appointed me as the head of the PBA task force. I had to do everything, uniforms, contracts, lahat. So, it came out smoothly naman. Then,
Pero walang dagdag sweldo, yung pa rin sweldo nyo.
yun pa rin.
Okay ba na?
And then
What
after
was-
maybe about 10 years after we joined, or
10 years pa.
after we joined, the president then was a guy from London, Adrian Loader. He came to me told me that we want to leave the PBA. He went to my office and then, why? I said, no, because we're spending so much, things like that. I don't think we're getting our money's worth, things like that. Then, okay, they told me, if you're so insistent on staying in the PBA, he told me, let's have a meeting next week. You make a presentation. I said, okay, I'll do that, sabi ko. And then, I did present. I told him. During that presentation, the vice president for finance was there, another English guy, another foreigner, and the head of marketing and so forth. And I had to present. I told them, guys, if we leave the PBA, that's what we will lose. I said, for every PBA game, there are about 240 casual mentions of the name Shell. I said, we will lose that. That's equivalent to something like 5 million, I told them. Then you have the radio commentaries and things like that. There's another support. You have the number of column inches in all the newspapers, the broadsheets and the tabloids. That's another 5 or 10 million, I said. We will lose all of that. And then I said, aside from that, the collaterals. It's like they see their jackets with the Shell logo, the uniforms with the Shell logo, the word of mouth advertising, very important. Everybody talks about you. I told them, luckily, I was able to convince them. Because Shell was not, those foreigners were not really into basketball. They were more into football. Nobody was in basketball except me at Shell. And then we had, aside from sponsoring the cars in Formula racing, we also had, I think, a football team in Portugal. This was, I think, Benfica or something like that. Anyway, we were able to convince them. They stayed another 10 years.
Yeah.
In PBA.
Galing.
But at that time, I did my homework naman. I made some computations, mga broadsheets, Philippine Star, Daily Inquirer, etc., etc. And then, luckily we were able to to convince them. These football guys. Oh, football. No one was in basketball.
Yeah, well, European talagang, pag European talagang football.
Hindi nila alam yung football natin dito, basketball. Di ba?
But going back to yung, you said you were given 1 month to form the team.
Yes.
First of all, what's the first? Although you were told siguro na some members of the Crispa team would be absorbed, no? Pero who were outside of the Crispa players? Who were the players? Amateur players who first came to mind when you thought about forming your team?
Leo Austria, of course, was the first guy called Leo Austria, Sani Kabatu, Romy Ang.
Puro sa draft yan,
Juvenal, Aldo Perez. And,
speaking of Aldo Perez, he's watching right now pala.
Yeah, he's watching right now.
Pati si Ricky, di ba?
Yeah, si Ricky was not there yet. Si Ray Lazaro, did not. Then who else? Totoy Marquez also. And then,
Totoy.
We wanted a mixture of the young guns and the veterans. Philip Cesar, Boggs. I could not get Atoy because already committed to another team. Also
Bernie, di ba? Si Bernie?
Bernie
was the last. Padim Israel, I also called him up, but he was already committed to another team also.
So ikaw nag-negotiate nito lahat, coach, nung
Yes.
Besides the draft guys, yung mga veterans nung pumapasok sila rito.
Yeah,
wala ng Crispa, lapit na kayo rito. So, isa-isa mo tuloy kinausap ng mga to.
Yeah, mga isa-isa.
Grabe. Buti hindi kayo hiningan ng mga kontrata na gusto ko isang Shell station, walang ganon.
Hindi, wala naman. So, meron lang naglapit sa akin na nalibas mo na si Charlie, hindi pa tayo nag-uusap sa sweldo sa akin. May mga ganon, pero naayos naman lahat.
So yun, yung start ng Shell talaga, 1985, of course, that also coincided with the first ever PBA draft nung kinuha yung number 1 overall nga, itong si Santiago Cabatu. Ano yung thought process nung coach, nung papasok na kayo sa draft? Eto na, di ba? Papanood nyo sa NBA. That's the year after Michael Jordan got drafted. So ano naging draft strategy ngayon ng Shell, knowing that you had the number 1 pick at marami pa kayong picks na pwedeng kunin?
What actually, yung naka-plancho na yun, yung 5 best amateur players para sa amin at the time. So, hindi na dumaan sa draft yun.
Okay.
Pre-arranged
na. Kasi syempre, bibigyan nila ng konting partida yung team. Kasi bago kami. 30 days lang to form a team. So,
that's why Leo Austria fell to the second round. Okay, kasi
something like that.
Second round lang ba si Leo? Parang
second na si Leo.
Fifth round pa yata.
No, not even second. Yeah, farther down.
Fifth round na yata yun
Kasi
sorry.
6 teams lang nun, di ba, nung time na yun. So,
siya, unang kinausap ko sa Masagana 99 at that time. Pumunta ako sa practice nila.
Siya pa yung nag-MVP actually sa
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Pero sa PABL na nung time na 84 kasi nagsimula PABL, di ba? So parang na sila, siga na sila nun Si Cabatu, si Austria, yan yung kasikatan nila nun
Si Sally two-time MVP, alam ko, di ba?
Two-time MVP
yan.
So what was it like, Coach, nung unang day nyo sa PBA, nung unang game nyo, of course, yung practice sessions, di ba, and everything like that, pero yung unang game nyo na mismo sa PBA, was it anything that you expected? Nanonood lang kayo dati, babayad kayo para manood sa Araneta Coliseum. Gaya, nandiyan na kayo sa harapan.
Parang, medyo kinakabahan ka na ng konti. Meron nga gusto mag-interview sa akin, sabi ko, saka na lang. Medyo lalo pa lang Hirap
Babasahin ko na habang kakapost lang Coach Charlie. Sabi ni Ricky Relosa, he just posted it now. I'll say it again. Boss Charlie is one of the best managers in the PBA. Maraming players ang nagmamahal dyan at marami pa. Yan, sabi ni Ricky Relosa. Right now.
Medyo delikado yung marami pa
At marami pa.
Pasablay talaga ito si Ricky.
Dapat mapag-usapan yung mga marami pa na yan. Sa mga players. Pero I don't know if you guys asked this kasi medyo na disconnect ako for a couple of minutes kanina. Were you involved in the selection process for the coach of the team?
Yun, hindi namin natanong sa question.
the first coach I was not involved in that at all. I think Freddie Webb was recommended by somebody, and well, they pick him up. I was not yet, I think, before.
Okay.
I was not yet third.
Sumigunda pa to si Ray Lazaro. Isa na ako doon. Who na nagmahal daw sa'yo. Sabi ni Ray Lazaro ngayon. Yung comment ni Ray Lazaro.
Yeah, Ray is also watching. Avid
former
watcher
player
namin
mo, coach, andito, ha?
Oo. Yung mga mababait kong players yun eh.
Tatlo na sila, ha? Si Ricky Relosa, si Ray Lazaro, si Aldo Perez.
Jimmy Manansala, Aldo Perez. Mababait lahat.
Actually, si Jimmy Manansala, ina-advertise na niya itong episode na ito eh.
Actually, I was just kind of fortunate na wala kaming hard case players nung araw. Yan, mga mababait yan sila. Leo Austria, Leo Isaac, mababait yan.
Okay.
Jimmy Manansala.
Of course, yung Shell magandang naging takbo kasi unang taon nyo pala, abot ka agad kayo sa finals eh.
Finals.
Finals ka agad kayo. So, was it that time na inisip nyo, uy, okay itong ginawa natin, baka pwede tayo mag-dominate sa PBA nung umabot kayo sa finals? Was that the thought process na pumasok sa team nyo?
Yes, at that time, wala na ako sa team. Sa middle nung second conference, medyo bumalik na ako sa dati kong trabaho. Because somebody else came to manage the team. He was our personal director in Shell Brunei. Dumating siya dito and he took over the team. And then that was in 86, I think. And then I came back in late 88 to handle the team already.
Okay.
So, but
nawala pa na kayo nung for a time.
Yeah, but I was still there yata sa second conference and we won the second. That's when we won runner-up finish.
Si Dante Silverio na nun, ano?
No, sa Freddie Webb pa rin yata. I was with Freddie Webb pa rin.
No, 88? No, I think it was Coach Dante.
In 88, yeah.
88. Pero 85 kasi umabot na sila ng finals.
Yeah, 85.
We lost to Great Days.
By that time, yeah.
So pala kayo? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, Coach, I was wondering, yung first conference may imports na, your first conference in the PBA. Paano naman yung, how were you indoctrinated into recruiting imports? Were you also involved in that? Mga first
most of the imports I was involved. Even the one of, I think, Dexter Shaws, ako nilang napadala sa kanya dito. And then, when I joined as team manager at the time, I was already involved in all the imports. I would go to the US all the time, maybe twice a year, looking for imports. And we didn't have the first time was the Bobby Parks.
88 yun,
and then what's the name of the other import? Derek Roland. Yeah, he was
Derek
already.
Roland.
And then we got second runner-up again. But at that time, we were just lucky to get Bobby because I was in the US at that time. I was trying to get Carlos Clark of Alaska at that time. I was waiting for him in Ballin Hotel in Las Vegas. But he came at 4 o'clock. Sabi ko, ano klaseng import ito? Dadating at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, medyo hindi ako masyadong hot kunin siya at that time. And then, Ray called me up. Ray Marquez called me up that Norman Black was not playing in the next import-laden conference. Sabi niya, Charlie, what do you think of Bobby Parks? Sabi niya, if he's available, why not? I will get him anytime. Sabi ko, called me up I was in Las Vegas at that time. Sabi ko, let's get him if he's available. Sabi ko, okay, sabi niya. I'll write a letter to San Miguel, and, sabi ko, I did write a letter for them to waive all their preemptive rights over Bobby Parks, sabi ko. And then San Miguel agreed because Norman Black was playing. Kawawa naman si Bobby, sabi niya. So, they even told them na kawawa din ng team namin. Hindi kami nananalo for 9 straight conferences. Hindi kami pumapasok sa Wala pa ako noon. 9 straight conferences. Hindi kami pumapasok sa semifinals man lang. Yeah, yun. They agreed. And then, yun, Bobby Parks came in and we started winning.
Grabe, ganda ng transition nyo from San Miguel to Shell, and then changed the franchise. But 88 was a big year also para sa Shell. Kasi ito na yung bulto ng national team, aakyat na ng PBA noong time na yun. And Pure Foods was also the new team. But you somehow ended up with Ronnie Magsanok. Ikwento nga ni Ronnie Magsanok, he wanted to play also with Pure Foods. Dapat kasama rin dapat siya doon sa grupong yun. But you wound up with Ronnie Magsanok. How did that happen, Coach, na nakuha niyo si Ronnie nung draft?
I think that was the year na papasok pa lang ako. Nakuha yata nila through, tumulong din sila, Jolly pa, mga ganun. So, nakuha namin si Ronnie. But Benji Paras, ako na yun. I was going out with Benji every Friday. We would eat dinner sa Alex III or ever. Wala pa siya sa PBA noon. And I was already trying to interest him into joining the Shell team. So, luckily, that time, medyo nakuha namin si Benji. But at the time, it was also a difficult time because there were some people whispering to Dante Silverio's ear to get Nelson Asaitono over Benji.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Number
that was
one,
it.
Wow,
I was riding Dante's car at one day. Sabi niya, what do you think of Nelson Asaitono over Benji Paras? I told Dante, sa akin medyo hindi ako siguro papayag dyan if ever, sabi ko. Dahil talagang gusto ko matagal ko nang inaawitan nito si Benji, saka ang lakas ng batang-bata pa, sabi ko. Yun, na-convince ko din siya na, kasi ako naman, I always, binibigyan ko ng mga coaches, if they feel comfortable with the player, sabihin nila sa akin, I will get him, gano'n. But this time siguro, there were only two times I disagreed with the coach about some players.
When was the other time?
Sa akin.
But when was the other time? I'm sure life-changing din yung isang beses.
No, the other time was another coach wanting to bring in a 31-year-old player he was comfortable with. But he wanted to remove player who was the MVP of the NCAA at that time and 21 years old, sabi ko, medyo mali yata, sabi ko ganun sa kanya. And then the next day he resigned. He gave me a letter of resignation.
Wow.
So,
Patago lahat yun Sunod-sunod, patago lahat yun
Oo nga.
Sabi mo nga, colorful, totoo yung colorful. Nasabing marami.
Nag-iisip nga si Sid ngayon kung sino kaya yun. Yung mga
kasi historia namin dito
NCAA MVP. Okay.
At 7 o'clock in the morning, nagbigay ng letter of resignation sa akin. Copy for this.
Umayaw na agad,
Grabe.
Dapat pala.
Going back to Benji, going back to Benji, how big a factor din naman yung Ronnie was already there, yung former teammate.
Yeah, I mean, they're so comfortable with each other. Matagal na sila naglalaro together, Sandeda, Philip Sardines and all that. So, UP, talagang talagang nagkakaamo yan, alam na. Saan ipapasa ni Ronnie or
Ako, Coach, atras lang ako ng konti. Were you involved already with the team noong 1987? Nandun na ba kayo sa team na yun?
Wala pa.
Wala pa, okay, sige. Hindi ko na tuloy matatanong kung ano nangyari doon sa ginawa ni Baby Dalupa na magic, kung paano niya nakuha si Alan Kaidik. Kasi involved ang Shell doon
yeah. Ako nga
do you know the details of that? Kung paano na magic ni Baby Dalupa yun?
Yeah, hindi ko nga alam. In-offer yata niya si Manny Victorino, no? At that time. Sabi ko, maraming nasayang na players na sinabi ko sa kanila na hindi nila kinuha. One of them was also si Danny Ildefonso. Sana Twin Towers.
Pero na-draft nyo si Danny Ildefonso noong 98. Napunta na talaga sa inyo yun. Number 1 overall by Shell yun.
Na-trade lang.
Na-trade with Noy Castillo yun
Na-trade lang with Noy Castillo.
Sabi ko nga sa coach, huwag mo na pababayaan yan. Kami napapanood ko yan araw-araw sa PBL.
Yun ang matagal ko nang gusto malaman kasi Coach Charlie, ang daming kwento na sinasabi there was a rumor that was a boardroom trade daw. Yun nangyari doon.
Hindi naman talagang
mas magandang malinaw galing sa inyo eh. Why draft Danny Ildefonso at number 1 overall and then trade him to San Miguel for the number 3 pick in Noy Castillo? Bakit? Ano nangyari doon?
Well, siguro minsan dito sa PBA maraming haka-haka sa mga chismis, bulong-bulungan eh. Sabi ko, this guy's from the States, baka yun ang sinabi, and he can shoot the lights out sa ultra. Get him. Siguro yun ang sinabi sa kanya. Yun. Ganyan, nangyayari yan. Pero ako, ang sama ng loob ko noon, and I told them, I only have 2 players to recommend to you guys sa Shell. Sabi ko, I want Danny Ildefonso and then Jay Mendoza, sabi ko, the enforcer of the PBL.
The enforcer.
Yes.
Pinakamaraming fine sa akin noon nung I was the commissioner of the PBL. Siya pinakamaraming fine. Get him, sabi ko. Nagbago na yan. Nag-usap kami ng matindi yan eh. Binibigyan nga ako ng aso, hindi ko na tinanggap eh. Yan ang negosyo niya.
Oo, yan negosyo niya actually. Hindi, pero isipin nyo guys, how strong, how powerful Shell would have been. You had Benji Paras and then a young Danny Ildefonso na pwede pagsabay nung time na yon, di ba?
Grabe, ang lakas ng dalawa sana. Sayang, sabi ko, bakit hindi tinirade? Yun ang sinabi ko sa kanila. Hindi ko maintindihan.
Well, nanalo Shell ng championship nung 98. Nanalo kayo championship.
Yeah, 98.
98, John Best.
Centennial Cup ba yun?
Tadway yata.
Governors Cup. 98, Governors Cup.
Then 99, then 99 was against Tanduay.
All Filipino yun.
Tama.
It would have been much stronger pa.
Maybe
we will have had a dynasty na.
Baka,
Twin Towers dapat yun eh. Kaya nga, medyo maraming haka-haka eh. Maraming haka-haka kasi, Coach Charlie, na may nagkwento that was a boardroom trade daw. Of course, if we don't get into it, okay lang din. Pero it's one of the most controversial trades, draft trades in PBA history.
Narinig ko na rin yan because San Miguel was at that time one of our biggest customers there, the Shell. It could have, I don't know, I might be wrong. It could have been a boardroom trade.
Yeah. You never know what could have happened. Pero, di ba, the chances are, kung nagsama nga yung dalawa, mas maganda yung
grabe yun.
Pero Coach, you mentioned,
go ahead, Charlie.
You mentioned earlier kasi, Coach, so first, siyempre, Freddie Webb, hindi ka pa involved sa hiring noon. Then there were some coaching changes. You got Jolie pa somewhere along the way. Of course, you had, so may UP connection ka kasi may Paras, Magsanok, Jolie pa, Joey Guanyo, parang
Eric Altamirano for one time.
Eric Altamirano, UP.
Eric yata, Eric was a player.
Pero yung sa Jolie pa hiring, hindi ka pa rin hindi ka naman ikaw yung manager noon or
hindi pa ako.
So who was the first coach that you were involved in hiring him? Was it Dante?
Or... I think it was Dante, Arlene Rodriguez.
So kay Coach Dante, paano niyo naman convince si Coach Dante after the great career he had with Toyota previously? Tapos biglang, di ba, ilang years out of he was racing cars, he was doing his painting and all that. And all of a sudden, he's back as a coach. Paano naman how did you convince him?
I heard a lot of things about Dante. No? In coaching, sabi ko nga, it involves only 3 things. One is integrity, the other is ability to motivate, and finally, the last one is technical competence. I think Dante was exemplary in that integrity and ability to motivate factors. Some sort of pencil pushing I gave to the players. Nakalagay all the possible coaches on the left, all the possible Dante, blah blah blah, all the coaches. And on the right, yung mga kanila, yung integrity. Ang mga katiyan, how does he technical competence, blah blah blah, and then rate them. Sinabi ko sa mga players. So Dante came out at that time.
Okay. Ang bigat kasi mula 88 that really shaped the Shell franchise. Nakuha niyo si Ronnie Magsanok. 89 you got Bobby Parks. 88 Ronnie Magsanok and Bobby Parks. Tapos 89 nga nakuha niyo si Benji. But then you had to decide to build around itong tatlong yung superstar, So how did the decision come about to get guys like sila, mga role players like Romy De La Rosa, etong si Jojo Martin, di ba? Sino pa ba yung mga nandun? Ang dami mga complementary players na naging sobrang cohesive bigla ang Shell because of the acquisition of these young cohesive players. Sino pa ba? Namimiss ko Jojo Martin, Jun Marsan, mga ganun, oh.
Yeah, si Dante Silveria actually helped me get Romy De La Rosa and Jing Ruiz at that time. Sabi niya, these guys I know can do a lot of damage with fast breaks. Sabi niya, nobody can touch the ball better than Romy De La Rosa, sabi niya sa akin. So, ayun, we negotiated with Santa Lucia to get these two guys. And then other people came in one at a time. Tuadles also, I also consider Arnie Tuadles as a good friend of mine. He also helped get a lot of players like Jojo Martin. Sabi niya sa akin, Charlie, get Jojo. He's one of the best defensive players I've ever known, sabi niya sa akin. So, we got Jojo. Marami din siyang nirekomenda. And he was very close with Romy De La Rosa. Kaya nagkaroon ng magandang samahan yung team eh.
Jay Ramirez din, no?
Jay Ramirez, yeah, no? The enforcer of Cebu.
Iba yun.
Enforcer of Cebu. I remember Epoy, pero Epoy was had some problems at that time.
Yeah, sandali na siya.
Actually, the first game yata, gumawa ng 22 or 27 points sa PBA. But after a while, he just kept coming in siguro late, mga ganon. So, one time, napuno na si Dante Silverio.
Yeah.
We were in the dugout and he was already explaining yung mga plays na gagawin sa game. And then he comes in. That was the last throw siguro. So, ganun na nangyari.
Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned earlier, the name Arnie Tuadles. So I think we have to talk about Arnie Tuadles and how what because he's one of the best yan sa akin, no? One of my favorite players. Yeah. How did he end up with Shell? Was he your recruit or he just happened to be there tapos naging close kayo?
Parang gano'n lang. Naging close kami noon eh. Even until the time of his passing, talagang close kami because 3 weeks before he passed away, he brought me to that club where he 419.
419.
We were very close. Even before that, a week before he passed away, he was in my PBL office. He stayed there for 3 hours. Sabi ko baka nagpapa. Anyway, we were very close. Kami ni Arnie. I even offered him a coaching job. I told Arnie, I will send you to the US to study coaching. Sabi ko sa kanya. I already wrote to Pat Riley. Sabi ko at that time, it's true. I wrote to Pat Riley. I even have his answer in the Lakers letterhead. He referred some coaches to me. And then sabi ko kay Arnie, nakausap ko na si Pat. Pwede ka na lumipad anytime kung gusto mo. Kasi I felt he was gonna be a great coach. I felt yung one of the talagang players na merong utak eh. I told him, you can leave anytime, sabi ko. Ako na bahala lahat ng gastos mo doon, sabi ko sa kanya. Then, sabi niya, boss, I think I still have a few years left to play, sabi niya. Pwede bang tapusin ko muna itong mga paglalaro ko, sabi niya sa akin. So, yun, at that time, wala na akong magawa. So, yun, magpatuloy siya to play.
Well, as a follow-up to that, no, I mean, do you think that Arnie Tuadles should have been in the PBA's top 25 or top 40 players? Di ba kasi nag-name na ng 25, top 40?
Siguro sa top 40, dapat kasama na talaga siya.
Dapat kasama na, no, si Arnie.
Grabe, everybody had lang high good words for the guy. Talagang,
that's true, you know, lahat ng naging guest namin na nakalaro siya kahit mga import, ganyan, naaalala talaga si Arnie kung gaano siya kagaling.
Lalo na sa kwan. Parang siya ang kwan parang caught sa loob ng hard court eh. Naalala ko, I remember one very clear thing that he said. Sabi niya sa team, I was talking to all these young guys, Benji and all these guys. Ba't kayo takot maglaro? Hineba na lang yan. Tao rin yan. Sabi niya, grabe
nga, no?
ano ba naman matamaan kayo sa mukha paminsan-minsan? Ano ba naman, tahi lang yan. Sabi, ang galing eh. Sabi ko, this guy is talagang a great motivator din.
Oo, di ka palaban kasi talaga eh.
Ang tatapang na ng mga player to.
Oo.
Galing.
Ano yung
Pero
background doon, coach? Parang they were They were parang getting intimidated na by Ginebra?
Yes. Kasi meron mga na yun give one hard foul, it's ang alam kong instruction sa kanila. But don't quote me on that, kasi may nagsabi sa akin. may nagsabi sa akin player yan na nag-a-apply sa akin noon na from hindi ito na sinabi, give one hard foul each. So, kung hindi sila magbigay nun, tanggal sila sa team.
Hindi, kasi kasabayan ng Detroit Bad Boys yun 88, 89. So, di ba, yun yung naging peg ng mga teams If you play like the Bad Boys,
okay
you
lang
might
yung
win a championship
Okay lang hard foul, lang dirty fouls.
Parang perfect timing na yun. Binanggit na rin ni Coach Charlie yung Ginebra and then
yun na nga, gusto ko tanong yun
pasok na. Go, Noel, go.
Well, I was just thinking, of course, marami kayong naging kwento. We did, actually, ako nagsulat din, and then we did a few episodes already about the famous walkout ng Ginebra. Of course, nung 1990 that just celebrated the anniversary. Actually, you're one of my interview subjects in time na. Pero mas maganda yung inarawan mo kasi maganda yung kwento mo na tatago ka pa sa kotse ng kaibigan mo para lang makaalis sa ultra, di ba? I mean, what was that like? Heading into that game na championship ka, that's biglang nagkaganon, they walked out in the first half. What was the shell stake? What was shell stake on that yung nakita dun sa nangyari?
Well, the score at that time was, I think, 63.
Tambak.
49.
46 yata, 49. Sabi ko, well, we were doing everything right and they were doing everything wrong Even Bobby Parks was shooting from the half-court line Pumapasok So sabi ko, why quit? Kasi we were playing great. I felt that we were playing great talaga. And then, that happened na nga. And I was worried about what would happen outside at the time. So, people were telling me na some of the fans were watching out for my car. And then I was in the dugout. Sabi ko, then somebody offered, you ride with me, leave your car. Sabi lang naman. So that's what I did. I rode with them, going to our shindig because we won. We had I reserved a place in one of the Triple V restaurants. Yun. I was kind of scared too because doon lang sa walkout, I was hit with a 2 peso coin and sakit
totoo. May kanto yun.
Octagon pa yun Octagon may shape yun.
Yung ulo ko, tumama lang sa kamay ko. Sakit pa rin sa kamay.
Yeah. So, nung nangyari yun, nung nangyari yung walkout na gano'n, anong una yung reaction nun? Siyempre, Ginebra fans and Ginebra people will always say, kasi masama naging tawagan ng referee, tapos biglang nagalit si Ray Cuenco, dinuro na isang referee, doon na nagsimula yung yung everything. And Rudy Hines, of course, marami nagsabi, papatay na daw nila si Rudy Hines ng time na yun. Was one of the referees. What was happening? Nung nakikita nyo lahat ito nag-unfold, what was the thought process dito ng Shell? Kailangan na nating, we have to protect ourselves or magtutuloy pa ba itong game? Ano bang naging thought process nyo nun?
Well, we were prepared to play. We were inside the court. We were prepared to play. We were just waiting for them to come out. But they didn't come out, so it was already the PBA who decided. Tapos na yung game. But, well, knowing that, mga death threats kay Rudy Hines, I got three death threats at that time, and they were all relayed to our chief security at Shell. So the chief security told me that they got 3 death threats coming from fans, sabi nila. Watch out whenever I walk, look behind me, ganon. May mga sabi nila.
Yeah. Pero coach, were you angry? Were you angry? Did you feel anger when this happened na nag-walk out yung kalaban ninyo complaining na hindi kayo binigyan ng credit na you were playing well in that game and they were blaming it on
may
the
asterisk tuloy yung championship nyo eh.
Well, sabi ko nga, it's everybody, most of the time, the referees are always blamed for games like this. Always, even until now. Mga yan kasi bayaran, mga ganon. Always. Ayan. Then, secondly na laging blame yung mga coaches. Hindi marunong mag-discipline, hindi marunong walang play. But, sa akin naman, I was not angry siguro. I mean, sila Sally naman are good friends and all of these guys. Wala naman problema. Sally, Bernard Navarro was a good friend of mine, the president of Luton din niya.
Yeah.
We were always together. Yeah. I would go to his office all the time, visit him. We were very close friends naman.
But do you think the league handled it well? I mean,
well,
could the league have done something more para matuloy yung game or para hindi mag-walk out?
Makontrol yung situation at least.
Yeah, I'm feeling siguro nila na hindi na makokontrol because everybody was just talagang galit na yung mga tao, mga ganyan.
Yeah. I remember.
Siguro just to play it safe na lang, tapusin na lang, mga ganun.
Yeah. Pero the following year, coach, naman, Narudi Distrito kayo.
Yeah,
Doon yung bawi ng Ginebra.
Yun ang bawi nila. Pero sabi ko nga, sometimes we have the low end of the calls naman. Hindi naman sila lang ang masama. Actually, when we counted the number of fouls, halos pareho lang eh. So sabi ko, but we never complained. We never did. I only complained once, the last second shot of Richard Hollis for Beaufort at the time. Nag-complain ako, sabi ng mga boss ng Shell, ng presidente, sabi ko, complain, walang mangyayari dyan. Sabi sa akin, no, I will complain, sabi ko. Ayun, nabigyan kami ng may play.
Oh, yeah.
Kundi, talo kami doon.
Yeah.
That was the only time reklamo. Kasi nakita ko, pinanood ko yung tape siguro mga 100 times.
Pero coach, about that Richard Hollis basket, okay, talagang hindi counted, di ba? Pero do you agree na replay or should the result have been overturned right away?
Panalo dapat siya.
Kasi may mga nagsasabi nun, bakit may replay pa eh?
Dapat panalo na siya,
Well, tama naman yun na i-replay. Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano pa mangyayari yung last one. Sa akin, parang tama lang yung i-replay. Okay. Kasi para naman hindi nila sabihin na nanalo kami dahil dun sa reklamo lang. Sa akin, gano'n lang.
Okay.
Makulay. Yeah. Go ahead, Charlie.
Let's talk about that 1991 naman, yung rematch. Hindi na sila Añejo, naging Ginebra na sila.
Yeah.
You were up 3-1 in that series, coach.
Yes, we were.
What happened? Ano nangyari?
Feeling ko, they started playing siguro better, more cohesively, maganda ng depensa nila. And I will not move that victory from them. Maganda nilaro nila. And then, kami naman siguro because we were already up by 3-1. Medyo nagre-relax ng konti. Nagkaroon ng overconfidence, mga ganun. And ganun na nga nangyari. Kasi sa basketball, once you see meron kang makitang kahit na small gap lang na mananalo ka, talagang pag-chatsagaan mo talagang maglalaro ng gusto. Sabi na siguro ng Ginebra, kaya pa natin yan, nakikita nila. Yun, ganun na nangyari. So, until the end, sila nag-wari.
Oo nga, pero coach, do you give input? Let's say, so nag-3-1, naging 3-2, tapos magti-3-all na, down kayo siguro. Would you stand up and say something in the huddle? Nakikiano ka ba? Makiki-coach ka ba? Kaya mo hindi humirit or humihirit ka?
Hindi naman, hindi ako humihirit kasi gusto ko ang coach ng mamahala dyan, hindi ako humihirit. Okay. Sa mga administrative matters lang, doon ako pumapasok. So, yung mga ganyan, pinapaubaya ko na sa coach. Unless, usually ang coach sasabihin niya, Boss, baka gusto mong kausapin. Ganun lang.
Yeah.
So sabi, like one, I remember, we were playing against Alaska. We were losing badly sa standings. And it was my birthday. Sabi ko lang sa team, guys, puro talo tayo, pero I don't mind. Sabi ko, nabigyan tayo ng basketball eh. I said, then, but it's my birthday today. Baka naman pwede nyo akong bigyan ng konting regalo, sabi ko. Pag hindi naman okay lang, sabi ko. We won, I think, by 33 points or something like that. Eh.
Grabe.
Sana araw-araw birthday mo, coach.
Yun ang exactly sabi sa ni Abet Gidaben. Abet Gidaben lumapit sa akin, boss, sana araw-araw birthday mo. Sabi sa akin. Sana araw-araw birthday mo, sabi sa akin.
Ito gusto ko lang itanong din to. I'm sure you guys are also curious. In 1993, Benji Paras had a contract issue. Na gusto niyang magpa-trade sa, I believe it was Ginebra at the time, pero ayaw niya siyang bitiwan. Tapos parang na-ransom kayo somewhere in between. There was an impasse with Benji Paras and Shell. Kwento niyo naman yung yung nangyari.
I was in the US, I think, at that time. Tinawagan ako nila nung isang vice president sa Shell. Sabi niya, leave this to me. I will make him sign in 10 minutes, sabi sa akin. Okay. Sabi ko. So, nasa States ako noon eh. So, yun. After 2 weeks, balita ko, hindi pa pumipila si Benji. So, babalik na ako dito sa Manila. Sabi ko, tinawagan ko si Benji. Benji, ano naman nangyari sa usapan nyo? I told him, mag-usap naman tayo, sabi ko. Ano ba yung mga gusto mo? Ano ang mga hinihiling mo? Ganon. Pwede man naman natin pag-usapan yan, sabi ko. Kasi minsan may mga tao na yung mga ganon lang, hindi na sila. So, sabi ko, ano ba ang kailangan mo? Ito. Sabi ko, bla 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 bla. Ayan. Sabi ko, ito lang pala. Sige, maghintay ka dyan. Mag-usap kami kasama yung presidente yata noon, nag-usap-usap kami. So, sinabi ko kay Benji, mag-report ka na for practice. Sabi ko. Ayan, gano'n na nangyari. Hindi na siya pumirma sa Ginebra. Pumirma na siya sa akin, pumunta sa office. Ginawa ko na kagad ng kontrata.
Ano naging issue? Kasi parang hindi gusto ko lang malaman kasi parang malaking balita yun na Benji Paras will transfer to Ginebra.
Tsaka Ginebra pa na parang rival talaga ninyo. Bakit? Anong feeling mo nun? Ba't naman sa kanila pa, pare? Ba't hindi naman sa Podium? Hindi sa... Bakit? Di ba?
Ba't hindi na lang sa ibang team? Ganun na nangyari. Ba't ganun na nangyari? Pero sabi ko naman, lahat siya mapapag-usapan. Ganun. Everybody wanted to join in it. Alam mo naman, it's a home team eh. It's the only home team in the PBA eh. So I guess people are attracted to joining the team. I don't blame them naman.
I'd like to pick your brain, Coach Charlie. I'll pick your brain about this. Let's say at the time, talagang ayaw ni Benji, ayaw pumirma. If he refused, i-trade nyo lang ako, sabihin niya sa'yo, sir. Sino at that time napapayag ka na i-trade para kay Benji Paras?
93?
Siguro kung meron na si Alvin Patrimonio siguro.
Yun lang talaga pwede.
Yun lang siguro, no?
Baka Alvin Patrimonio and a draft pick.
Or Nelson, I don't know.
By 93, si mas dominante na si Alvin siguro at that time. So, pwedeng one-on-one yun, Noel, baka lamang ka pa. Di ba? Pero, so Alvin talaga, no?
Alvin talaga. If ever.
Okay,
that's good. Actually, I talked to a lot of these managers, sila Gotaw, all of them, sila Panganiban. I talk to them all the time. We always share notes. I even was the one, I think, who did the bonus package of Pure Foods at that time. Hiningi sa akin ni Panganiban. All of these guys. Binibigyan ko sila ng bonus scheme namin. Pati Pepsi at saka, I think Alaska rin, binigyan ko din. We talk all the time. We talk
so
about
kayo, I
players.
mean, kumbaga nagko-focus din pala kayo. Okay. That's nice to hear, no? That the managers actually talk to each other and share.
We have lunch.
I wonder if it's still like that nowadays, no? Pero that's
din
nice to
yun.
hear about that time.
Yeah, we were having lunch.
May nagtanong dito, coach, sa comment box, yung may nag-mention Shell gas station franchise.
Yeah,
Is it true? Kasi parang everybody said meron daw si Benjing isang Shell station, si Ronnie Magsano, kanya. Kasi yung ibang
meron
teams
sa
ganun, di ba?
Aurora, di ba?
Tatanong ko rin sana yun.
Boulevard si Ronnie, di ba?
Sa may trellis, di ba?
Si Benji hindi nagkaroon ng stasyon yan. Because we asked him, sabi namin, Benji, if you can have somebody who is your kin, who can manage the station, we will give you one. We will give you a franchise, sabi namin. Sila only binigyan namin. And he had that station for 5 years sa Aurora Boulevard.
Aurora Boulevard, yeah. I used to see him there.
But that station was held up, I think, 3 times, kaya nag-ayaw na niya. Kasi dati mga stasyon, hold up eh.
Kasi puro cash pa ang bayad nung araw eh.
Oo.
Go ahead, Sid.
Balik lang tayo, no? Backtrack lang to for a few years, late 80s. There was a time you wanted to hire Bobby Parks as a coach. Yeah. Pero as usual, hinarang ng ng BCAP.
BCA.
And yeah.
Nag-coach na siya. Nag-coach nga siya.
He coached for I think about 18 games. 18 games siya, if I'm not mistaken.
Pero how did that idea come about? Yung hiring
that came from me.
Import coach.
Actually, it came from me. Sabi ko, I asked him, can you be coach? Sabi ko, I never knew that there was going to be a problem because, I have guys like Tim Cone and Armand Black coaching. I didn't think that it was going to be a problem. So I told Bobby. He was in the States at that time. Sabi ko, Bob, come over. We'll make you coach. Yeah, he came over. He brought so many notes of basketball plays and dami. Sabi ko, wow. It was really serious. Sabi ko, sige, let's try it. Sabi ko, yun. But Tulo Valenzuela and some of these guys, they were against American English. We had several hearings at the immigration, wherever, kung saan. And then I was presenting my case. They were presenting their case. So yeah, that's what happened. Nagkaroon ng BCAP. And then we were not allowed to bring in American coaches na. But whenever I go to the US, a lot of coaches there apply. I had one good one from Louisiana State, wanted very much to come with me back to Manila and coach. There were so many applicants, but we just felt that siguro Bobby was just right because he was already familiar with all the players at that time.
Then many years later, Shell tried to rock the boat again, di ba? They got John Moran.
Si John Moran.
John
Pero wala na si Coach Charlie nung time na yun.
Wala na ako.
Wala ka. Do I remember si John Moran, the controversial John Moran?
Actually, John Moran actually introduced something to the PBA that we didn't use before. Yung calisthenics before the game.
Yeah,
diba? Usually, pagpasok mo doon, layup na kayo, layup line na kagad. John Moran was the first to actually bring in calisthenics during. Pinagtatawanan pa siya, ginagawa niya sa mga players niya dito sa Shell na to.
And I think he was also the first. Yeah, I think he was also the first one to schedule practices that end up at midnight.
Ayun lang.
I'm sure na medyo nasira yung sa mga player, parang
mababa yung mga player.
Memory ko sa kanya was first game niya. First game ni Rich Alvarez, who was the top draft pick. Binangko niya.
Binangko niya.
And he called 5 timeouts in the first half also. Yung game na yun. Naalala ko yun.
Yun yung lagi parang may toothpick lagi dito, di ba?
Yeah.
Grabe yun.
Sid, Charlie, memory ko kay John Moran, nag-guest yan sa radio show namin dati. Dinala ko sa Rodix. Nakatatlong tapsilog. Yun ang memory ko talaga sa
Malaki. Malaki ganun eh.
We're gonna take a break here for a bit. We may dadaanan na tayo. We're just gonna go to the top of the coverage once again with the stuff that we talked about at the very onset of this episode number 70 of An Eternity of Basketball. And of course, we are also on Instagram, guys. If you haven't figured that out yet, you can follow us not only on Facebook but also on Instagram. We want most of you, if not all of you, to also follow us on both platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And of course, we are part of the Globally Ballin Network. So check out globallyballin.com for all of the latest articles, audio projects, and video projects available also with Globally Ballin, which is also on YouTube. You can follow the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. Starting tomorrow, Feb 21, episodes 1 to 20 of An Eternity of Basketball will only be seen on the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. So we're slowly migrating already to YouTube. So and if you want to take us on the go, no problem. We are also on Spotify, so you can listen to us anytime. Any of the past episodes from episode 1 to 69 is already on Spotify. And last but not least, of course, go to linktree/globallyballin to know where everything is dito sa ating Globally Ballin Network. And we are still balling right now with our very special guest, Coach Charlie Favis, who has just taken us back in time. Ang dami pa nating mga questions. PBA pa lang tayo. Wala pa tayo sa career niya after the PBA. But yun na nga, with Shell, what made you decide na it was time to leave, Coach Charlie?
That time, I was already thinking of leaving because parang alam ko na sasagutin ko sa elevator. Everybody who joins me sa elevator asks me, palo tayo panalo tayo every day, ganun yun. So parang sabi ko, baka it's time to leave na din, sabi ko, dahil parang ganun na nangyayari. Every time I ride the elevator, all the employees of Shell talk to me about the game last night. Ganun. Parang paulit-ulit na yun. Parang
Groundhog Day na.
Parang Groundhog Day na rin. So I was already working on some possible businesses at that time. Parang sabi ko, tama na siguro. I mean, been with the company for a long time, being with team management for about 6 years, parang tama na siguro yun.
Administration na ba ito ni Mr. Bobby Canapi at the time? Nung umalis kayo? Hindi pa?
Hindi pa. Si Mau Berhel de Jos ang pumalit sa akin. Yes, right. Guy from who was assigned to Shell in Houston, Texas. Siya ang pumalit sa akin. And then some success of managers after me. Jimmy Ison, Bobby Canapi, who else? 1 year.
Okay. What is this? All right. Okay. I just saw a message here earlier. But again, in 1994, you resurfaced. Akala natin you're going to walk away from basketball. But again, in 1994, you resurfaced as the commissioner ng Philippine Basketball League. We'll get into that in just a few moments. Pero ngayon, we have some photos to share. Of course, of your colorful journey dito sa iyong basketball career dito. We'll start out with this one.
This is the first yata.
Wala.
Ano ka pa yung task team?
Task force ka pa lang dyan. Hindi ka pa manager dyan. Task force ka pa lang
task
dyan.
force head pa lang ako dyan. We're with Freddy Webb all the time before.
Sino ito mga payat pa nila ng Austria.
Five is Kabatu. Sino yung number 11?
Number 11 is Hubinal.
And then Abatuan.
Aldo Perez.
Aldo, Abet.
Romy Ang.
Ray Lazaro, yeah. The guy on the farthest right is Freddy Gonzalez of LaSalle.
Okay.
He's my deputy before, and then in front row, that's Totoy, I think, and Leo Austria, Bernard, and
Bay. Si Bay.
Bay Cristobal.
Wala si Philip Cesar, sa photo na to, no?
Wala.
Oo nga, no? Kaya si Philip.
Pero Bernie was there.
Saan ba to? Sa Dumlaw ba to? Saan kinunan to?
Well, ang practice, nag-umpisa kami sa Dumlaw, ang alam ko.
Dumlaw siguro yun. Wala pang Reyes nung panahon na yun.
Pawis na pawis lahat eh. Malamang Dumlaw to kasi pawis na pawis.
Oo nga, malamang.
Nakalimutan I actually forgot that Abet Gutierrez played for Shell. Nakalimutan ko
yes. One of the nicest guys in the team before.
Yeah. Lumipat siya from Tanduay.
Yes.
Bogs also, wala rin si Bogs, ano? Sa photo.
Wala rin si Bogs.
No, they were somewhere else. Yeah, very
So,
historic
magandang
photo.
halo ito, no? Oh. Yeah, magandang halo. The rookies and the veterans.
Yes,
and it shows you how tall Hubinal was, oh. Mas matangkad kay Sunny Cubs, oh. Diba?
Sunny, ano ba si Sunny? 6'4", 6'5", no?
Oo, mas matangkad pa si Hubinal sa kanya. Grabe, no?
Grabe.
Ganda ng photo na to. First time ko makita to.
Let's check out the next photo, Aaron. This, of course, is the many events ng Shell involving the team. So nakalagay Shell Azudrin pa dito. Paano pa? Bugbusters, Azudrin, tapos naging Formula Shell, naging Turbochargers, of course. Yung Turbochargers, of course, came about when the PBA already hired this American firm to give monikers, respective monikers yan sa mga PBA. Kaya nabuhay yung Alaska Aces, Mobiline Phone Pals, di ba? Santa Lucia Realtors. And then, of course, the Shell Turbochargers. How did you feel about the word Turbochargers as your moniker, Coach Charlie?
Okay naman kasi really, we are trying to inform the public that our fuels are really the best and, can really boost performance of your cars. I guess ganun yan.
Yeah. Just an FYI, ever since I only gas up at Shell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever since I learned how to drive. Yeah. Shell ako talaga.
Tutuwa si Ray Gamboa niyan.
Anong event pala to, Coach? Was this after yung
runner-up niyo? No. I usually organize parang pep rally for the boys sa office. Doon sa canteen lang. So in the canteen.
Sa Shell House.
Shell House.
Kamiss din pumunta sa Shell House, ano? Sa mga
village.
I wanted them to, feel the love of the employees, di ba?
Dapat lang, di ba? Dapat yung supporters, eh.
Ano pa ba sa Shell House yung Ferrari? Di ba may Ferrari nakaparada doon?
Meron dati. Wala na.
Wala na ba?
May nag-uwi na.
Oo.
Naalala ko lagi yung Shell House na yun, di ba? Dati parang nagka-bomb threat pa dyan ilang beses.
Dami, ilang bomb threats na dyan.
Hindi naman dahil sa Hinebra yung mga bomb threat na yun. No?
Ay, hindi naman.
Malamang, baka may isa doon sa Hinebra. So yeah, what's our next photo, Aaron?
Ganda ng mga forma nila dyan.
This is kind of iconic. Yan ito na yung champion team, eh.
Parang nagpa-parlor pa sila, yung mga hair nila. Tinan mo, nagpa-parlor pa sila. Benji sila.
Tingnan mo kung gano'n ka-fresh face naman itong mga to. Itong mga players na. May buhok pa si Charlie Escobar.
Meron pa. Benji Paras, meron pa.
Meron pa naman buhok si Jolly dito sa may baba.
Sa ilalim, lumipat yung buhok ni Jolly sa ilalim.
Who are the newer guys there? That's Jojo Martinez there, si Mulong, Aureliosa, Dicky Boggs. Si Dicky Boggs nandyan, di ba?
Marquez bumalik.
Tapos yung Benji.
Ito pala tanong ko, Coach, how and why did you get Rino Salazar?
Again, I was not around when he was taken in, but
okay. Hindi ka involved.
I think in Australia at that time, trying to get an import kami ni Bobby. We were trying to get an import in Geelong, Australia. We were trying to interest him into joining our team at that time. When I came back, yan. The management group got Lino.
Okay. From the rival Hinebra, no? May ties talaga. Hinebra and Shell are really somehow tied up. Even if you look at Cuenco and De La Rosa, di ba, there was a trade for them. And now they're together. All of a sudden, nagsama rin pala silang dalawa.
Si Arlene Rodriguez, nag-assistant coach din sa Sani.
Leo Isaac came over from Hinebra din.
Yeah, Leo Isaac din. Joey Loizaga.
Then,
si Ricky Relosa, nag-Gilbis din yan.
Tapos si Jolly Escobar na Ginebra.
Eventually, di ba?
I have to point out lang, the trainer here was si Hert Calianta, no?
Hert Calianta ba?
Beside you, Coach Charlie, of course.
Tagal sa amin si Hert.
Actually,
dinala siya ni Jolly pa sa amin.
Kasama sa UP connection niya.
Connection niya.
Coach, sino yung katabi ni Coach Rino?
In fairness kay Coach Rino, siyang nag-joke kila Joey at saka sila Leo Isaac to join. Yung mga dating Nets.
Okay.
Tama naman yung
sino katabi daw ni Coach Rino sa picture?
Si Molet Pineda ba yan?
Si Molet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Molet Pineda.
Okay. That's it.
Sino yung katabi ni Joey Loizaga?
Calvin
Calvin na yun. Okay.
Calvin.
Puti kasi Calvin. Katabi ni Calvin, nasa likod ni Ronnie.
Mulong.
Si Mulong ba yan?
Mulong yan.
Moses Mulong, di ba? Yung tawag sa Moses Mulong, di ba?
Moses
Mulong. Pag binanggakan yan, hospital ka eh.
When Ricky Relosa guested here, he said this was one of his favorite teams, tong Shell.
Yeah, he loved his time at Shell. He loved his time at Shell. Grabe kasi yung tatlong yan eh. Yung Paras, De La Rosa, Magsanok. Matindi yung tatlong yan. Yan ang big three. Big three talaga sa akin.
Kuwela raw lahat ng player eh.
Yung big three ko dito, yung tatlong loko-loko eh. Loizaga, Relosa, at saka Escobar.
Iba naman yung basketball ang pinag-uusapan natin talaga.
Pag nagsama, ini-imagine ko na, Coach Charlie, pag nagsama yung Loizaga, Relosa, at saka Escobar, puro kalokohan siguro. Mangyayari dyan.
Oo. Yung isa tawag sa kanya, chocolate. Yung isa, sota. Yung isa, tawag nila.
Grabe. Ganda ng picture na to. So, what's next, Aaron?
Ano? Ayan.
Ito, celebration.
Celebration.
Taas na lundag yun dito, Coach. Champion.
Si Rino eh. So, this was the over San Miguel.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
How did you feel about that series, Coach? Para San Miguel was also favored noon, ano? If I'm not mistaken. Pero 4-1. It was 4-1. Ronnie played out of this world ng series.
Yeah, grabe. Well, everybody knows that San Miguel is a team that will never, be out of the picture. Lagi nandiyan yan. So, it was nice to finally beat them in a championship.
Hindi lang beat, 4-1 pa.
Sino yung bubuhat sa kanya? Is that yung nakatalikod sa camera?
Ako ba yung binubuhat?
Escobar, no?
Escobar sino nakatalikod?
Escobar yan, di ba?
Yan, si Rino, binubuhat. Yeah.
Si Rino binubuhat. Pero si Jolly yung nasa may, harapan.
Leo Isaac yata itong isa, no?
Leo Isaac on the right.
Yeah.
Kaya masaya yung team na yan. I enjoyed handling the team niya.
That's still at the ultra pa rin, no?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See the U on the floor. Yeah, those were great days at the ultra.
I watched live yung game, I think game 3, game 4 yata yun eh, when Ronnie stole the ball from pasa ni Ato Agustin to the import. The miscommunication na Ato ni Ronnie and then he went in for a layup. I was behind the San Miguel basket na eh. My cousin got me tickets. Kaya hindi ko makalimutan yung game na yun. And I heard na Ronnie was actually had the flu nung series na yun, and after every game, he would be brought to the hospital.
Yeah, I remember that also, yeah.
Okay. Michael Jordan pala siya.
No, Michael Jordan is.
The flu.
Not just one game, for several games, balita ko. Hindi lang one game.
Malapit lang naman Medical City dyan eh.
Oo, malapit lang.
Pero dyan ako believe, Coach Charlie, si Ronnie Magsanok, no, kung tirahin ng mga opponent, hindi gumagante, hindi napipikon, laro lang ng laro, no? Ay, grabe si Ronnie. He had a great floor general na talaga nakafocus lang.
Ka-match up niya lagi si Rudy Distrito.
Kaya nga, diba? So, medyo bugbog siya doon, pero he wouldn't even, diba?
Di lang, mamaya, Jaworski na, katapat niya, diba?
Kung tinira siya, titirahan niya ng tres.
Pero hindi siya, naalala ko, hindi siya nagrereklamo masyado si Ronnie.
Talaga.
Laro lang talaga siya.
Really admirable the way he would keep his composure. Grabe.
Okay, what's the next photo? What's the next
photo, please?
Yeah.
Ito, in post-game interview na with Mr. Rattling Run.
Yan na. Rocking.
Ronnie Nathaniels.
Rocking.
So, championship ito.
Championship yan.
At babasain pa si Ronnie dyan. Kasi ano yung bote. Ay, mukhang papaluin siya ng bote. Tinan mo yung hawak ng bote. Diba?
Parang nakahampasin eh.
Ay, nanonood din pala ngayon si Bernard Fabiosa. Nanonood na rin ngayon. From Florida, no? Si Bernard.
No. Bernie's in LA.
LA.
Ray Lazaro nasa Miami.
Okay, si Ray
Miami
Lazaro
City,
nanonood din sila. So,
Do you remember anything from these post-game interviews, Coach? I mean, obviously you're being asked, binabasa ka, ang ingay-ingay. Siguro hindi mo na rin maalala yung mga pinagsasabi mo.
Hindi ko na rin maalala actually. Hindi ko na rin maalala actually. Sa dami.
Tapos may mga tanong pa si Sir Ronnie na parang, again?
Can you say that?
Can you say that again? Mapapaganong ka.
Siya played a fantastic game. You won against Barangay Ginebra. You are top of the world right now in the PBA.
Charlie, how are you feeling, Charlie?
Charlie
yan. Walang
Magmumura bigla yan. Nakakamiss din si
I really miss her.
Di ba si Sir Ronnie, puta na. Ganun yan.
Puta na, pare.
Enjoy kasama yan. Sinama ko siya kasama yung team.
Nakakamiss.
Lumabas pumunta kami sa Melbourne kasama siya. Yan.
Nakakamiss.
I spoke to Jolly Escobar a couple of days ago, Coach, and I mentioned to him na ikaw nga ang guest namin and all of that, and he says, aside from the fact na ang saya-saya ng team nyo noon, nice camaraderie, saya daw ng mga biyahe ninyo.
Oo, marami kayong
biyahe daw kayo kasi mahilig ka daw bumiyahe. Yan sabi niya.
Totoo yan, mahilig.
Hindi sa game, sa mga abroad. Walang biyahe sa game. I want to make it clear. Ayoko na intriga. Diba?
Masaya.
Do you remember yung mga trips niyo? Anything memorable about that?
Yeah.
Si Jolly Escobar, kuwan ko dati yan. Roommate.
Roommate.
Patay.
Hindi, ibig sabihin, pigil na pigil si Jolly na gusto gumawa ng kalokohan kaso roommate na yung team manager. He tried to behave.
Yeah, masaya. I always try to schedule games pag nasa abroad kami, like in Adelaide, Sydney, Middle East. Yeah, nag-schedule ako ng games. It was more sa akin, it was more of getting them play the international way para tumigas sila ng konti. Ganun sa akin feeling.
Isa pa from a marketing standpoint, kayong dalawa lang na San Miguel noong time na yun, yung global brand talaga sa PBA.
Oo, kasi ang katulad sa Guam, ang gusto nila Shell at saka San Miguel lang dahil may mga produkto naman sila doon kaya sa Hong Kong, mga ganun.
How did you promote, Coach, the team camaraderie during that time? Because you guys, it was a close-knit unit. Lahat ng kausap namin from Shell. What did you do? Wala lang, get-togethers lang? How did you do it?
Get-togethers, I bring them abroad, and then masaya, we have a lot of fun. We bring them to places like the Tabangang Refinery, magpapakang kami doon, magstay kami doon, things like that. And then, saan pa ba? Malami. I always schedule games sa Down Under. Ilang beses kami pumunta doon. And sa Guam, 4 times. So, yun, nagiging close-knit kami talaga because of that.
Okay. Sid.
Coach, I remember may isang out-of-town game kayo noon eh. I guess I think it was against Ginebra. I read an account lang na kung saan man town yun, there was like a Shell refinery or something near. So parang for that one game, kayo raw yung may home court advantage, hindi daw Ginebra. Kasi Shell was very popular in that town.
Totoo, we have the big refinery in Tabangao, Batangas. And I coached there. I was the one who coached the team.
Yun. Kasi nawala si Coach John, nawala. Kayo pumalit.
Nawala si John. Ako pumalit. And we won. We beat Ginebra. We beat Ginebra in that game.
Okay. How many PBA games did you coach?
3 games lang.
Okay. So yun yung PBA coaching career mo, 3 games.
The first game we played, I think Alaska, we were leading by something like 30 points, but we still lost. And then the next day,
team coach yun.
We were kasalanan na ng coach yun. And the second day, kalaban naman namin ng Pure Foods. Nilamangan na naman namin ng I think 26 points. Talo ulit kami. So coaching error na naman yun. And the third day, third game against Ginebra, nanalo na kami.
So 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Okay.
What's our next photo?
Yeah, PBL.
PBL na ito. Sino katabi niyo, coach? Sino may bulaklak sa ulo?
Ay, babae?
Oo.
No, si Kanyan. Yung candidate ng Miss Tahiti sa Miss Universe.
Ginawa ko naman candidate si
Akala ko si Ma'am Betselis.
Akala ko si Ma'am Nida eh.
Tahiti. Sino yung mga yan? That's Baby Tupan.
Ito yata yung first conference ko as commissioner. First or second. Mga board of directors ng kanya ng
di ba si Baby Dalupan yun nandyan?
Yeah, inimbita siya
Baby Dalupan.
Ikaw naman si Velasco at saka si Tommy.
Encarnado ba yan? Hindi.
Sino? Encarnado? Wala yata si Encarnado.
Parang nakapula sa body, no? May nakabigote kasi. I thought David. That's
Ramon da Costa of San Miguel.
Okay. Tony Chua. Andyan din, Tony Chua.
Kanya na Blanco.
Si Chowking. But what was the decision process, Coach Charlie? Because you had just left the PBA, wala pang ilang buwan, ikaw na yung naging commissioner ng PBL. How did that happen?
No, yeah. Immediately after I left PBA, I went on a vacation to the US kasi all my siblings are there, my mother, everybody's there. So I always go there to visit them. And I was visiting. I was in Vallejo, California, and I saw this. Yeah, I saw this newspaper in one of the Filipino stores. Nakita ko yung malaking letrato ko sa likod ng isang broadsheet. Sabi ko, nakalagay doon is PBL unanimously selects Charlie Favis as the next commissioner. I didn't even know about it. No? I was still vacationing.
Nag-apply ba kayo? Nag-apply ba kayo?
Hindi.
Paano nangyari?
So, sabi ko, might as well, balik na ako, tatanong ko ano ito nabasa ko. Yun. When I came back, tinawagan ko si Elmer Yanga, and then, sabi niya, Charlie, punta ka dito. Kausapin natin si Joey. Yan. Sabi ni Joey Concepcion sa akin, Charlie, if you're not doing anything, we'd like you to handle PBL, sabi niya. Sabi ko, sige, pwede siguro, but 7 commissioners sabi ko pa nga sa kanya, 7 commissioners in 9 years is not very inviting, sabi ko. Hindi ako tatagal dyan, sabi ko. Well, I'll try, sabi ko. Yun, tumagal naman ako, 10 conferences, so. That's what happened.
Anong tawag sa PBL, no? The Faster League?
The Faster League.
Ginawa kong Faster League yan kasi nag-uusap kami ni Bill Velasco. Sabi niya, Charlie, mas maganda kung iksian mo yung half-court time para kapag mapunta dun sa front court yung mga players. But it was actually a suggestion of Bill Velasco. Sabi ko, yeah, it looks good. It will make the game faster, sabi ko pa nga. Yeah, definitely, sabi niya, it will make the game faster. So, yun, nangyari. So, I came up with stickers, posters, the Faster League, parang, because of that, hindi dahil sa PBA. I couldn't compete with the PBA.
Pero yun na lumalabas na inkling ng tao in 1994, the PBL was competing na against the PBA kasi the Faster League. Sino pa ba isang liga nun? PBA lang naman. What was your reaction to that?
Nilagyan ng sticker yung coach ni Jun Bernardino the Faster League.
Ganun ba?
Oo. Sabi, may naglagay yung mga tao ko sa Cuneta Astrodome. Nilagyan lahat ng coach doon. The Faster League. Ang ganda na nangyari.
Walang tumawag sa'yo from PBA.
Meron si Ronnie Nathaniel siya tumawag sa akin. Bakit daw nilagyan yung coach ni Jun Bernardino? Hindi ko naman alam niya.
Yun ang akala ng tao that the PBL was now competing with the PBA. Kasi of course, prior to that, yung success ng PBL naman, nung time, PABL pa, nung panahon nila Alvin Patrimonio, nila Nelson Solo. So talagang medyo nira-rival na yung PBA. And then when it came out, the Faster League, di ba? Parang, lalabanan na talaga PBA.
nag-shoot up talaga yung numbers namin in terms of yung mga nanonood, yung mga meron akong TV coverage kaya lang minsan non-prime time, wala kami makuhang prime time so dumami and then but we can never compete against PBA dahil sabi ko nga institution na yan, matagal na yan. Gusto lang namin magkaroon ng konting usapan sa labas, pag-usapan naman kami, and I even hired guys, yung mga magagaling na television guys, yung mga graphics, yung mga sa Apple. Nagawa ko yung PBL yun
gumagalaw yung logo. Tapos yung panel pa rin time na yun. Bill Velasco, Noli Ayala, Danny Francisco. Yun yung
Francisco,
Saka may bata na sumali na
Joey Loizaga.
May isang sumali doon na out of the blue, bigla na lang pinag-audition. Ewan ko ba't yung kinuha yung Noel Zaraton na yun Kasi doon siya nagsimula. Diba?
Yeah, yun naman pala. Okay.
This is my first broadcasting stint was under Charlie Favis. First ever yon under Charlie Favis sa PBA. Naalala ko
magaling ka gumawa ng mga musical arrangements.
Yun yung trabaho ko kasi before that, di ba? Pero no 1994, my first game in the PBL was March 28.
Akala ko, coach, sasabihin mo magaling siya gumawa ng bola.
Kasama na yun.
Magaling ka gumawa ng storya, pare.
Ganun talaga. I mean, that's you have to start somewhere there, no?
Coach Charlie, sorry, hindi ko lang kung napag-usapan niya. I went offline for a while. Yung 94 season, that was also the year that there was a guest team from the US, yung Atlanta Pipes, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we had a team that played in Hong Kong. I wanted, at that time, I was already looking at, I went to BAP. I called up Nick Jorge. Sabi ko, Nick, can you send me a schedule of all the international games in the next 2 years? Sabi ko. So he gave me a lot. Then one of the tournaments that we played in was the Hong Kong Anderson Super Cup. But we didn't have any money at that time. So I asked Atlanta to foot the bill. And they did. They gave us the money to go there and play. Atlanta Pipes?
Yeah, and I remember lang because I think Jeffrey Carriazo, that was the first time he played here in the.
That was the time before me. Yeah. That was the time before me.
Wala ka pa noon, okay.
Wala pa ako. 92.
That's how he was discovered by Alaska, alam ko 95 siya din draft. Pero 94 he played in the PBL.
Yes. And he was still
Coach,
playing.
Who was the best player in the PBL? Were the commissioner?
Before, some of the best players were sila Marlo Aquino. Of course, it's always there.
Yeah. Next photo, I think may on that.
Next photo,
Answer the
photo, please.
This is
lumaban sa abroad to
sa Kuala Lumpur. The FIBA ABC
Champions Cup to.
Yung batang Leo of 3 nandyan, no?
Yeah. Siya yung quarterbacker namin.
Naalala ko yung broadcaster kasi niyan, Amerikano Tapos yung mga Pilipino, naging gaganda ng mga pangalan Leo Austria passes the ball to Oscar Simon. Simon gives it over now to Peter Martin. naging sila bigla, Oscar Simon, Peter Martin, di ba?
Accident lang ng team na to I wanted to send a team there. Wala kaming pera talaga, zero. So sabi ko, then I called up, I think Jingoy Estrada. Jingoy Estrada at the time, who was a very close friend of Andox, si Sandy Javier. Sabi ko, Jingoy wanted to join the PBL, put up a team. Sabi ko, Jing, huwag ka namang sumali kasi matatakot sa'yo yung mga referees. Sabi ko sa kanya, matatakot yung mga referees sa'yo. Huwag ka na mag-join, sabi ko. Tulungan mo na lang ako, gusto ko magpadala ng team sa Kuala Lumpur. Sigurado ako magcha-champion tayo, sabi ko. Ayun, tinulungan ako. Nag-lunch kami nila Sandy sa Shangri-La over lunch. Naglabas ako ng papel. So sabi kasi ni Jingoy, Charlie, ano bang problema mo? Sabi mo nandito. Sabi niya gano'n. So nilabas ko yung 1/4 sheet of paper. Magpapadala ako ng team sa Kuala Lumpur. Mananalo tayo nito. Very prestigious, sabi ko. Kasi wala yung team ko. Most of the PBL players were in Chiang Mai for the Southeast Asian Games.
Games.
Wala, sila Benji, nandun sila lahat, sila kung sino-sino. So, Everybody was there.
Marlo.
Marlo pala, si Benj Marlo, and all of the guys. So yun, nilagay ko sa 1/4 sheet of paper. Pamasahe, Bobby Parks allowance. Sabi ko, sino pa yung isang player ko dati, si Coles, Alex Coles. Pinadala sa akin ito yan, yung Ginebra, talent scout ng Ginebra sa Amerika, si pangalan nito. Anyway.
Samonera,
yeah.
Samonera.
Nagkikita din kami sa Amerika niyan. Anyway, nagsulat ko yung mga kailangan, and then I'll give them a stipend of about $300 each or something like that. No? Sinulat ko lahat. Yeah, it came out to something like $14,000 US ang gagastusin ko. And sabi sa akin ni Sandy Javier, go to my office 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. The money will be there, sabi niya sa akin. Tama, pagpunta ko doon, nandun yung pera ko. Gulat na gulat ako. I mean, cash. So, pumunta ko.
The best.
15,000 yung pinadala niya. $15,000. So, we were able to leave right away. I did all the paperwork, yung mga pinadala ko, yung mga correspondence. Ayun, we were there. We were billeted in a good hotel. Buffet morning, noon, and night.
Wow.
We were there for 2 weeks.
Ay, FIBA kasi yan eh. FIBA ka na naman talaga, FIBA.
It turned out to be a very good deal, for Andox, kasi the team was PBL Andox, di ba? Saka may
PBL Andox.
May regional TV coverage, yes.
May TV coverage. So, ang dami mga nakakita noon. So,
champion pa.
Champion pa kami.
Champion pa.
We were all celebrating, kasama namin mga ambassadors.
El Aparador.
El Aparador. Diba si Patrick Fran, no? Di ba?
We were there. I was there with the team since day one.
Patrick Fran, nandyan.
As Peter Martin, Oscar Simon, nandyan sila.
Yung eve ng championship, nagdatingan lahat ng mga opisyalis natin. Sila Lito Puya. Nagdatingan sila lahat eh. Kasi we were already sa brink of the championship. Nagdatingan sila Jingo Estrada, Sandy Javier, Jaime Di Chavez. Lahat sila nagdatingan na.
Kasama niyo pa dito tinatawag ni Tommy Ong na si Yao Ming. Si Joey Lim. Tawag ni Tommy Ong. Diyan si Yao Ming.
He passed away already.
Yeah, he passed away, the late Joey Lim. Of course, dyan sa harapan ni Coach Charlie.
Favorite player ko dyan, Joel Duala.
Sino yung 5? Sino yung 5 dyan?
5.
Sino number?
To your right.
Alfred Barola ba yan?
Jack Santiago ba? Hindi.
Jack Santiago.
Jack na yan.
Si Jack. Si Jack ba yan? Si Jack na. Okay.
Jack, tagal sa PBL niyan.
Tagal niyan.
Okay.
Lagi assistant.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Sige, next photo, please.
Next photo,
please.
Yeah. The first
Chowking against Stag.
Yeah, the first out-of-town game of the PBL sa Brunei. Dar es Salaam, that's the ambassador tossing the ball. Ako also had colored leather balls before. Si Luna, Erwin Luna.
Erwin Luna.
Erwin Luna. Okay, yeah.
Nag-shell din yan.
Nag-shell din,
Si Marlo.
Marlo, grabe,
sa likod, si Ruben De La Rosa. Sino 19 ng Chowking?
Actually, hindi sila tumira sa hotel dyan eh. Doon sa mga sporting arenas nila, may mga hotel, may mga air-conditioned rooms doon. Ang gaganda.
Kaya nga, sarap daw mag-bubble sa Brunei. Kung gagawa lang kayo ng bubble, pwede rin daw sa Brunei. Di ba?
The best, sa Brunei.
Sayang. Yung Brunei na yun. Muntik na kami ni Jolly sumama sa last PBA sa Brunei. Biglang hindi na kami sinama.
Okay.
Nabitin kami.
What's the next photo? Ito, batang-bata pa si Ray.
What a great picture that we found. Ray Parks and Bobby Ray. Bobby Parks pa and Ray.
Sino yung bata Tagalasal? Sumikat,
hindi ko kilala masyado eh. So, hanapin ko kasi one of our students yan. Ginawa yan sa British School. Yung camp namin sa British School.
Bata pa si Ray dito. It must have been,
medyo
what,
chubby
12,
pa eh.
12 years old or something.
Oh, medyo chunky pa siya dyan, no?
Sensei pa siya.
What was it like being around Bobby Parks? Alam naman natin, Bobby Parks, 7-time MVP. I personally met him, very nice guy. Pero what was your relationship like with Bobby Parks, Coach Charlie?
We were okay naman. When we started hanging around. We used to go abroad all the time. So every time he plays well, I do a short vacation sa kung saan, Singapore or Thailand or wherever. Napuntahan ko. It was really Hong Kong, anywhere. We were always together actually, and I was the ninong of Ray. And sometime in 2002, sabi ko, Bob, we're not doing anything anyway. Why not we teach kids how to play? The way you play, sabi ko sa kanya. Okay, sabi niya sa akin gano'n. Then we started teaching. The first one was in the Meralco Bolts gym, where we had about 200 people joining. And my office in Ortigas Center, there was a line outside my office. All of them were trying to register. So sabi ko, it looked good. Sabi ko, let's continue. Yeah. We started. Si Bobby taught with us for mga 6-7 years before he went to the States. He was teaching with us. He was going to all our camps. Masaya kasama yan, no?
Meron ba sumikat doon sa mga former students mo, Coach? Did anyone make it all the way to the PBA?
Advanced.
Yeah, siguro si Kwal lang. Si Ray at the moment. The others, hindi ko kasi malam. More than 20,000 na nang tutuan namin.
Okay.
1,500 to 2,000 a year ako since 2002.
The fellow on the left.
Si Kwan siguro, one of the great players today na natuto namin for many sessions, mga 30 sessions siguro. Si Richie Rivero.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
For so many camps. Pero sa ni Ray, ang dami. Si Ray siguro attended 10 of our camps. Si Richie ganun din.
The guy on the left, Charlie, I think you're asking, I think that's Jay Legacion, di ba?
Yeah,
Jay Legacion. He's with Rain or Shine now.
Yeah. Rain or Shine. At saka nagbe-breed din ng aso yan kung kailangan nyo ng aso.
Oh, talaga.
Correct, yeah. He does. Nagbe-breed din ng aso.
Nagturo sa akin ng matagal yan. Nagturo sa akin.
Talaga na, Ray, tingnan mo naman. There was a time that Charlie Favis was taller than Ray Parks Jr.
That's right.
Mga 7 lang siya dyan.
Yan nga lagi ko sinasabi. Dito mas matangkad ako kay Ray.
Grabe, no?
Ano next photo? What's our next photo?
Yeah.
Ito na yung
Hoops camp.
dito.
Hoops School Philippines?
Hoops
yes,
School.
but 6 years ago, when the Americans from Fruit of the Loom came over, Russell Athletics, the owners of Spalding, they came here and then asked me if I can change the name of the camp to Spalding. So, since that time, we already call ourselves Spalding Basketball Camps.
Axel pa yung ano nyo rito main sponsor.
Yeah, one of our sponsors is Axel.
How big has it grown na, Coach?
Yeah.
Our camp has grown really by leaps and bounds, especially when we were allowed the use of the Spalding name. Biglang bumulos ang enrollment namin. Sometimes there was a camp that I had 600 kids in one camp. I had to stop it at 600 because sabi ko, if this reaches 1,000, we won't be able to teach them at all, sabi ko. So 600, I stopped the enrollment and then I just rented additional slots. I made the camps every day, morning, noon, and night. We were able to teach all of them. That was only one. That's all camp. We have several. So
yeah.
we have camps at Inares. I don't know if you've seen our billboards there.
Sino mga coaches na nakukuha nyo dito? I'm sure some of your former players as well, ano?
Well, yeah, some of our former players. Aldo teaches once in a while. Marami ang mga coaches deputy coaches of JRU, head coach of UE, UE juniors, mga ganun. All over the place.
How are you coping now, coach? Since hindi allowed tong mga camps and everything, is it? Are you closed down right now, or do you?
No, we're close at the moment, but we're not really that talagang close because we're working on
training?
several new modules. We're doing a lot of things now, correcting everything. Yeah.
Sige, what's our next photo?
Okay.
Yeah.
And this one, of
yeah.
course,
Yeah, this the one.
medyo recent lang ito,
This
yung
is your-
yung partnership niya with National Bookstore.
Yeah, here it's the books here. I don't know if it's all cartoonized.
Talaga?
Yeah, it has everything from shooting, events, everything.
I saw when you guested on a TV show one time to talk about it. I happened to be
Yes.
forget what show that was, but you talked about your book on a TV show one time.
Yeah, that was the first game of the.
Bakit mo naman naisip gawin to, coach?
No, sabi ko matagal ko na because it's
finally come.
year 2002 we were already teaching. Parang everything is madali na, so I came out with it. I have tons of books here also, so naisipan ko to come out with a book that is easy to understand by kids. You know, so, most of the books that I see here are, mga play. Hindi pa nila kailangan yun eh. Just the basics of stretching, rules on how to make it to basketball stardom, may mga ganun ba? Sleeping early, eating a full breakfast, everything's here. Training tips, practice rules. So, made it very, very simple English para maintindihan nila.
Of course, it's still available. Still available in National Bookstore.
I think nauubos na. I think in first printing, parang nauubos na eh.
Yeah, actually, chinek ko sa Amazon eh, not available daw right now.
Oo, naubos na yung first printing. Kaya lang ngayon, hindi pa ako makapunta.
Not available, exactly. I saw that also.
I have a lot. Marami nang bumili actually. People email me. Some people buy 30 for their class. No, ganun.
Galing. Yeah. Well, it's still available in National Bookstore now. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, you want to show your kids the basics of how to play basketball, the complete basketball training book by our guest here today, Coach Charlie Favis, who did not start out in basketball. Do we have another photo to share?
No, that's it.
This is the last photo. Yeah. Again, what a journey, para dito kay Coach Charlie Favis. And a lot of people were actually asking, how are you related naman daw to Binky? Yun, medyo sumikat sa basketball scene. Diba? And one of us here thought that you were mag-ama, which is not true.
Guilty.
It wasn't me.
All along, akala ko talaga all along.
Si Big is the son of a cousin of mine, si Hiel Favis. Yeah. So, he's actually a nephew.
Consel namin dito sa Parañaque.
Consel.
Yung talagang ang ganda ng full circle dito ng looking back now at your career dito, Coach Charlie, from being a track star in LaSalle to being immersed in the corporate world, tapos nabigyan kayo ng isang assignment na medyo kaduda-duda na mag-form ng team sa PBA, and then your entire PBA career that was up and down to PBL commissioner to now fully embracing basketball with Hoop School and now coming out with a book. What is the biggest takeaway dun sa iyong biyahe from that point in LaSalle until where you are now?
Well, siguro when I started the basketball school, it's something really big for me because I get emails from everywhere, that their sons already are MVPs, their sons are with PBA, things like that. PBA does tournaments for kids, mga ganon, MVP. But marami ako natatanggap na. So it's really very fulfilling actually. Even if you ask sila Richie, sila Prince, they started with us. So parang very fulfilling din yun. I guess hindi naman magkakalayo sa PBA, PBL. I enjoy PBL because I brought teams all over the world to play para lumakas sila. I didn't care whether we were beaten, massacred by 50 points. Sabi ko, if these guys will learn internationally, lalakas sila and all that. Sabi ko, it will be worth it. People were telling me, wag ka na magpadala kasi tatambakan lang tayo. But I kept on bringing teams all over. Shanghai, whatever. Kuwait, Malaysia, Segamat, Brunei, all over the place. Hong Kong, Indonesia, Jakarta.
Charlie Kuna has a question. Yeah.
Coach, can you describe lang very shortly what makes a good team manager?
Well, the team manager is really, sa akin, it was more of gut feel. Wala naman talang rules dyan. But I tried to do my best. Sabi ko, I wanted to, my relation with the players was like of a father, also a brother. Parang ganon eh. People, so I guess I never had a hard time with my players. All of them were terrific. Ganon ko lang ako. And then sometimes, there was a time na a player played his heart out and then we lost the game. And I still gave him a bonus.
Yeah.
Gave him $5,000 just for playing well. So, ganon siguro. It's just being parang brother nila eh. Lahat ng problema, ikaw pupuntahan. Maghiwalay sila ng girlfriend, ikaw pa rin pupuntahan. So, ganun. So ganun siguro. Wala namang hard and fast rule dyan. Sa akin siguro, ang pinakamagandang conjunct trait is one of sincerity. Sincero ka lang sa kanila. Parang hindi pwede ito kasi ganito ang banan. Limited kami sa ganito. So, sincero lang. And I never had a hard time with guys like sila. Leo Isaac, Leo Austria, Vicky Lalosa. Those are all great players. Sila Jolly Escobar, sila Joey Loizaga. Mabait na mga players. Grabe. Even guys like before, like sila, mga players ko, sila Rambo Sanchez. Sila Onchi de la Cruz.
Onchi.
Mabait nga nun.
You have to mention Vic and Onchi magkasunod.
And Sani Cabato. Mabait nga yung mga yun. Tama yun.
Mga yan.
Ray Lazaro, wala ako.
Naku, mabait nga nun.
Sobra.
Go ahead, Sid. Go ahead.
You mentioned na rin si Ricky Rosa. Before we went on air, you talked about when you hired him sa PBL.
Yes.
Sa PBL, nga.
Diba? Si Ricky to be, I forgot what his position was, pero parang he kept everything in order.
Director of Discipline siya lang.
Yung Director of Discipline.
Sipin nyo yun, ha? Ladies and gentlemen. Director of Discipline, Ricky Relosa. Rick, natawa kami doon sa kwento ni Coach.
Ironic talaga, no?
Can you share that with yung experience mo with Ricky as Director of Discipline?
Perfect siya for the position actually. Perfect. Nakita ko siya magtrabaho eh. Pinapagalitan niya yung players. Wala siyang pakialam eh. And sabi ko, when I first got him, sabi ko, Rick, wala kaming pera sa PBL, maliit lang sweldo ha. Pero kailangan kita, sabi ko, mabait si Rick. One of the finest players na I had. Wala akong problema. And also, deputy sa PBL.
Okay talaga yan. Itanong nyo kay Ronnie Tompkins yan. Wala na pala si Ronnie Tompkins. Sorry.
Oo nga, pinapunta pa kami sa kongreso niya, Senado.
Umabot sa gobyerno yan.
Umabot.
Grabe na. Makulay talaga. But at this point, I'll give the ball to Charlie Kuna. He has something prepared for you, Coach Charlie.
Coach, I do this thing for all our guests. So it's called X's or O's. I'll just give you some choices. You tell me which your choice is without having to explain. Rapid fire ito. Several choices ito. Let's start, ha? Magsanok or Altamirano?
Well, siguro Magsanok ka this time.
Okay. Joe Lipa or Dante Silverio?
In terms of technical competence, si Joe, pero sa ability to motivate siguro si Dante Silverio.
Okay, let's call it a tie. Tie na, sige. Rino Salazar or Arlene Rodriguez?
I would also say siguro tie na din siguro.
Okay.
Si Arlene has a lot of technical know-how eh. Si Rino din meron, pero siguro pwede silang tie.
Okay. Pwede naman ang tie. Sige. PBA or PBL?
Sa akin, PBL, syempre.
Kasi hinawakan mo, sa'yo yun.
Hinawakan ko, yeah. I spent so many nights thinking about sleepless nights, how to make that big. No, when I came in, they were already locking us at Rizal Memorial because we could not pay. When I came in, we didn't have any single centavo. And thanks to Ricky Velosa, he started the fine system.
Yung pala yung legacy.
Bayad din sa venue.
Marami na kasang binayaran as far as fines are concerned. Pero marami naman siya nakuha rin ng
Marami yan.
Okay, so in and out naman. Okay si Ricky. Okay, next tayo, Coach. 1990 first conference or 1992 first conference championship?
Makulay talaga yung 1990 because of the walkout championship. So, I would give that to 1990 siguro. Yeah.
Okay.
Mas gusto ko yun.
Alright. Next, Romy De La Rosa or Ray Cuenco?
I will go for Romy anytime.
Okay.
Romy naman.
Leo Isaac or Joey Loizaga?
Hala.
Pwede sigurong pareho.
Parehong may ano rin yun, may pag-loko-loko rin kasi yung dalawa eh.
Pero mabait yung dalawa niya.
Mabait niya.
Yes. I'm sure. The next one is usapang twadless. Calvin or Arnie?
Well, I was closer to Arnie, so I guess I would for Arnie. Not only because of his know-how sa basketball, but because I think he was a good motivator. Good motivator talaga siya.
Jojo Martin or Dicky Bognot? A lot of people think they're the same person kasi exactly yung dalawa.
Well, Dicky was more of a shooter, but Jojo was more of talagang a two-way player. Magaling siya dumepensa. I would go for Jojo.
Okay. If you were to choose from another team ito, hindi mo naging player to, Norman Black or Sean Chambers?
I would go for Norman. Sean was my player also in Kuala Lumpur when we went back for another tournament. I think he was kind of lazy during the tournament, but he was okay naman. He's a good player.
Hindi siya 100%, ha?
Baka hindi siya wala sa condition. Even Bobby was telling me, mukhang wala sa condition si Sean. But he's a great player. He's a great guy. I know him. Great guy.
Yeah. Bait yun. Guest na rin siya rito sa amin. Okay. Coach, Añejo, 1990 or Ginebra, 1991?
Añejo siguro, 1990.
1990 talaga eh. Mulong Orellosa or Jay Ramirez?
Si Mulong was more of the quiet type. Si Jay Ramirez medyo madaldal din yun eh. Lagi niya pinupupok yung ulo niya. Ganon eh. Lagi, sabi ko, Mulong ba, Jay, ba't mo pinupukpok yung ulo mo? Sabi ko, ang sakit niyan na. Boss, gusto ko talagang yung mga pisikalan, sabi niya, ginaganon niya ang ulo niya.
Talaga?
Hindi ko maintindihan hanggang ngayon, hindi ko maintindihan.
Happy Gilmore, ha? Parang
Happy Gilmore. Tama. So tabla tayo, Coach. Orellosa Ramirez, tabla o?
Tabla siguro.
Okay. Ito, Rudy Distrito or Onchi de la Cruz?
Naku.
Onchi, okay naman siya sa team. One of the nicest guys din yan. Rudy Distrito, kilala ko din siya. In terms of siguro galing, halos pareho lang sila siguro.
Okay. Manny Victorino or Benji Paras?
Siguro Benji ako.
Ito usapang sige Coach. Okay na?
Okay na.
Okay. Ito usapang PBL naman. Val David or Jason Webb?
Halos pareho sila at that time. Si Jason, ang galing din eh. People were admiring the way he plays eh. Okay din pareho.
Okay. Jaworski or Fernandez?
Both of them, I know them both. So, mahirap pareho siguro.
Maraming tie dito. Maraming tie sa selections ni Coach Charlie. Pero may last selection tayo. Kailangan mong mamili, Coach.
Sige.
Tie. Ito, kailangan mamili dito. Vilma or Nora?
Si Vilma ako, Vilma.
Vilma
Vilma
again. Vilma, another Vilmanian. The tally is now 7. 7 for Vilma, 3 for Nora, and 3 ties. May nag-tie dati. Ayaw talaga nila, Coach.
Si Pido yung isa. Ayaw talaga mamili.
Si Pido bumoto. Yung 3 ties, si Alex Marquez, si Gil Cortez, tsaka si Tim Coloso. Yun yung tie na 3. Ayaw nila mamili. Baka daw awayin sila ng ibang mga tao. Pero, so now we are up to 7 Vilmas and 3 Noras.
Wow.
Tatlo nagnora ulit?
Ha? Tatlo nagnora. Si Pido yata yung isa, di ba?
Pido isa na, for sure.
Alamin ko. Kung sino yung 3 Nora. Tapos,
Okay.
Sabihin nga natin. Okay, that's it. Thank you for that. XSROs.
Yung sa akin naman, Coach Charlie, is natanong ko na yung biyahe mo, pero sa akin, what's next in your evolution? May mga pamilya na rin tayo. In fact, our children, for those of you who don't know, yung panganay ko at saka panganay ni Coach Charlie, naging magkaklase nung prep. Kasi ngayon, ang lalaki na nila, mga dalaga na, yung mga anak natin. But now that you're, mga dalaga na. Now that you're in the, yung talagang in the twilight, sabihin na natin, of yung biyahe nyo rito, what's next for Charlie Favis ngayon?
Well, what I'm doing now is really working to improve some more yung manner of educating kids in the right way of playing basketball, not only the physical aspects of the game, but more of the mental aspects then. So I like to touch on more on the mentals like desire, mga sportsmanship, teammanship, things like that. Ano pa ba? Well, still looking for a business that works during a pandemic.
Lahat tayo.
Natigil no?
You would have had a lot of students this summer because I had a lot of pre-enrollees and I had to give back the money, refund them. And then what else? So, improve further. I'm not happy with it, but I'll still improve on it further using other things. I have the latest in basketball technology. I have some of the latest, but I have not yet really fully introduced. We will come out with that. Even Spalding, my partner, has come out with 15 basketball training aids. I'll be incorporating this in all our camps. So there are many things that I'm still doing at the moment.
Sige, Sid, on you. Sakto balik mo. On you.
Sorry about that. Okay, Coach Charlie, I usually ask our guests yung 5 favorite teammates nila, but since you didn't play in the PBA, as a manager, ang tanong ko, who were the 5 players that you wish you had signed for Shell? Or you're hoping pero hindi na natuloy?
Wala na para sa magsano yan, ha?
Wala na. Si Danny Ildefonso siguro was one of them. Alan Kaidik. Ako, I usually look at the completos recados, the whole team. He's a defensive player. He's a shooter from the outside. Yes, gusto ko if you were asked to ask me, Ricardo Brown.
Oo naman.
Wala pang shell dun, ha? Wala pang shell dun.
Wala pa. Sino pa ba? Sa depensa naman, sino pa ka? The moment, wala akong maisip the moment. Si Alvin siguro.
Kahit free agent, not necessarily rookie, pero kahit na player, mag-expire na contract nito. Let's try and sign him up.
He said I tried to sign up some guys before, katulad nila Jack Tanuan, mga pamalit ni Benji. I wanted him to in the team talaga. Naling Valenciano, I also talked to him. And guys, gusto ko yung may mga role players, titira sa labas. At that time, feeling ko medyo kulang kami sa labas mga shooter. Ikaw lang talaga noon.
That's a solid 5, ah. Carlo Brown, alang kay Dick, Danny Ildefonso, Naning Valenciano, and then Jack Tanuan. Yung kompleto. Kompleto yun.
Si Jack was more of a replacement player, or sub player to our big guy.
Parang pader yun eh. Hirap yung uro. Jack Tanuan, Black Jack.
Kinausap pa din yun. Kinausap ka pa din yata si Renay Buhain noong araw, yung presidente ng Pure Foods, para lang inilis.
So then, nakuha nyo yung number 1 and number 2 pick sana noong 1988. Dalawa na yun. Sa inyo mapupunta.
Sayang nga. Dahil nga sinasana.
Alam nyo, itong kwentuhan natin, we can go on and on and on. Dahil dito kay Coach Charlie, marami talaga tayo mapag-uusapan. Unfortunately, our time has come to an end dito sa Eternity of Basketball. But before we let you go, Coach Charlie Favis, baka may mga nais kang pasalamatan sa iyong basketball journey and yung mga gusto mong batiin at this point. I think your son is watching us right now also. So baka may gusto kong mga batiin ngayon.
Well, gusto kong batiin lahat ng mga kasama ko sa basketball ng araw. It's been a good journey, about 50 years, 40? 50 years. So, madami. There's so many. PBL, PBA, the basketball camps, ang dami yan. I just can't mention all of them, kundi maubusan tayo ng oras. But it was a good journey. I enjoyed every bit of my stint in the PBA, in the PBL, and Spalding basketball and hoop school, and the books, I intend to write another one, but maybe it's going to be a comics type of book again. So they're asking me to do another one, so I might do another one.
Ako personally, I would like to thank Coach Charlie Favis when he was the commissioner of the PBL for taking a chance on an unknown broadcast applicant na napagbigyan niya maging broadcaster doon on March 28, 1994. I'll always remember that day, March 28, 1994, nung first time kong sumalang as a broadcaster. And 27 years later, I'm still here and you opened the door for me. So I'm eternally grateful, Coach Charlie Favis, for you taking a chance on an unknown like me before.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, you're now one of the kayo ni Charlie. One of the goats na ngayon for sports broadcasting.
trying our best to bring the game. Walang liga. Walang liga eh.
Wala pa. We just have to be patient. It's almost there, just around the corner. But again, thank you very much, Coach Charlie Favis, for sharing your incredible story with us and sharing your time with us dito sa An Eternity of Basketball. And that's gonna do it for episode number 70. Guys, 70 episodes na tayo. Tanda na natin. We started this during the pandemic. Ngayon, paubos na pandemic. Tayo naman ang naging pandemic ngayon ng basketball. So we'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charlie, Sid, Noel.
For Sid, for Charlie.
I still owe you some things, guys.
Nga pala.
Yeah, we'll get in touch. Ayusin lang namin yung schedule nun, Coach. We'll let you know.
Sige.
Alright. So once again, for Coach Charlie Favis, Sid, and Charlie Kuna, my name is Noel Zarate. We'll see you for episode 71. And that's it. It's in the books. Episode number 70 of An Eternity of Basketball. Paalam.
Salamat, Coach.
Thank you.